Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look at r/best of Redditor updates. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, so before we get started, apologies for not posting on Tuesday. It is the half term here, so the kids are off. There's been bugs flying around everywhere, stomach bugs, colds, coughs, you name it. And, when things get a bit hectic like that, hobbies go to the wayside, unfortunately. So I just didn't have the mental energy to spend on editing at nighttime, because obviously that's when I do these things. I record them usually at nighttime, or if I get some time in the daytime when, the kids aren't around, I'll record them. But it's mostly always done really late at night when I can't sleep. But I just felt like I needed a day. I needed a day to just have to myself in the evening and just have a day, because even on the weekends I'm either recording these in the evening or I'm editing them. And again, I don't mind, it's my hobby, it's the thing I like to do to keep myself sane, but sometimes you just want to be away from the computer. Anyway, that is why I hope I am forgiven. I do apologize. Anyway, this one was posted by Direct Caterpillar 77, and the title says, "Today I effed up by chasing diagnosis for 35 years, and the answer was in my dinner." So, Direct Caterpillar is not the original poster. The original poster is you/KillFrenzy. Direct Caterpillar is the person that can pause it all for us, like a lovely little bean. So, we have a trigger warning for body horror and gross. So, if you're easily grossed out, then please do skip. Okay, you have been sufficiently warned. Originally posted January 21st, 2026. Let me start by saying this is a Today I Effed Up that spans about 35 years. Goodness me. When I was around 7, I started getting painful swelling in my neck, throat on a road trip with my cousins. Everyone assumed I was just getting sick and that some sun and time would clear it up. I remember it vividly because it was so uncomfortable I could barely eat. I dealt with it for about a week before I got home and told my parents. They took me to the pediatrician, who poked around and told my mum I had mumps, despite being vaccinated. Awesome! Oh no. Do you know, I don't know a single person ever who's had mumps. I don't know if maybe it's just something that doesn't do the rounds in the UK as much. I know we're vaccinated for it as kids, and I know my kids have been vaccinated for it, with the MMR. But yeah, I've never known a single person that's had mumps. I had really bad reoccurring tonsillitis when I was a child and had to have my tonsils removed. I remember it vividly because I then went on to hemorrhage 2 days after the surgery. Yay! I coughed and it was not fun. We'll just put it that way. I don't want to gross you out this early into the video, but yeah, it was not good and I ended up back in hospital. Don't remember much after that. I was probably 5 or 6, so I don't really remember a lot after that. But yeah, mumps is one of those. I'm not quite sure what it is. Is it an infection of the salivary glands or something like that? I feel like it's something to do with that. But yeah, never known a single person that's had it. I've only ever actually heard people mention it in American TV shows, funnily enough. Oh, and obviously when they were telling me what they were vaccinating my kids against when they were little. So it eventually went away until around 10, when it happened again. New doctor, fresh out of school, said there's no way this is mumps and sent me for imaging and testing. Everything came back inconclusive. The new conclusion was that it was psychosomatic. Oh, of course. I got funneled into years of therapy and appointments about why I couldn't just let it go, why I was attention seeking, maybe it was ADHD, etc. The sensation never truly left, it just fluctuated in severity. Fast forward to 19, I'm in the military and home on leave visiting friends and family. This has been bothering me for 12 years at that point. I rode with my buddy to the Sprint store. It was below freezing and his truck heater had the thermal output of a mouse fart. That's great. We grabbed hot coffee before heading back out. I took one sip and felt something in my throat, my neck, move, inches. Oh, no. Gross. I started coughing like crazy and hacked out a tonsil stone about the size of a popcorn kernel. I had no idea what it was at the time, so I wrapped it in tissue and brought it home because, of course, yes. My parents immediately recognized it. I was relieved and figured that that had to be the end of it. It wasn't. Fast forward again to about 32. I've got kids, a wife, a career. Managing tonsil stones mostly worked, but I still had the persistent lump in throat feeling almost all of the time. Oh, nasty, nasty. Now, as someone who struggles with recurring chronic acid reflux, I can only imagine how horrible that feeling is because quite often I get that lump in the throat feeling, and it's just because my throat is just inflamed, and that alone is a horrible feeling. So to not even know where it's coming from sounds horrific. Oh no. I finally saw an ENT in the city we'd just moved to. He basically said, "Forget the tonsil stone route, let's just take your tonsils out." I was 1,000% on board. No more weird mouthwashes, brushing like a crazy person, avoiding certain foods. I was ready to be done. Surgery happened. Recovery was insane. Blood, a backwards ER, fentanyl for minor pain, and a hospital that looked like it had 10 total people in it. But hey, tonsils were gone. Except the lump feeling was still there. I assumed it was phantom pain from the surgery and tried to live with it. We moved again to a bigger city, and I went for what felt like my 100th opinion. More tests, more appointments. The conclusion this time? Allergies! I did 3 years of allergy shots. It's so frustrating when you have something wrong medically and you know something is wrong and no one can find what it is. Oh, it's awful. It's a horrid feeling. Still felt it. At that point, I was completely defeated. Everyone either thought I was nuts or drug seeking. Even family still treated it like mental health. I gave up. Then yesterday, my youngest made taco rice for dinner. I'm sitting there eating like a pig, and suddenly I bite down on something very hard, about the size of a marble. I spit it into a napkin, and it's bone, like an actual chunk of bone. My first thought was, how the hell does a bone like that end up in ground beef? Then it hit me. The lump feeling was gone. For the first time in 35 years, no swelling, no pain, no persistent lump sensation, no mumps, nothing, just normal. The LDR, I spent 35 years being told I had mumps, anxiety, allergies, or was making it up. Did years of therapy, got my tonsils removed, did years of allergy shots, then yesterday, I bit down on a bone chunk during dinner and the lifelong lump in throat sensation disappeared. Instantly. Oh, do you know, my brain would be trying to crawl out of my ears. It would be cringing so bad at the thought that there was something in my throat. Now it was gone, and it was hard, and it's been there for years, and my brain would be doing overtime. Oh. Before the comments, no, I haven't had imaging since. I'm booked for an ENT follow-up because this is insane. Yes, I kept it, bagged it, because nobody will believe me otherwise. I get that it could have been lodged somewhere weird, tonsillar area, throat pocket, etc. I'm not claiming medical magic, just that this happened exactly like I described. I also get that it could be something other than bone, also why I saved it. Before we continue, I have this funny little story to tell you all. Honestly, I tell it to people to this day because it still cracks me up. So, about 3 years ago now, I think, maybe a bit more, I had the worst chest infection of my life, to the point that it sounded like Darth Vader was in the room when I was just trying to breathe. I actually have a video of it somewhere. I don't know where that video is, though. I think it's on my old phone. So if I can find it, I'll show you. If not, then I won't. But anyway, I'd had this horrible chest infection, I'd had antibiotics, blah, 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 got rid of it, and then it came back. But it didn't come back as bad, and it kept sort of reoccurring. So my sister eventually took me down to the urgent care quite sort of late in the day, because essentially, by this point, my anxiety was telling me, oh, you're basically a corpse now, love. You're done with. So my sister picked me up, picked my kids up with me, and then she took the kids to her house and left them with her husband and took me to the urgent care so that I could go and basically see what the hell was going on. So they saw me in the urgent care. The doctor basically had me open my mouth, had to look down my throat. He was like, yeah, your throat's kind of like spotty dotty, red dots and all this lot. He was like, it's just viral, don't worry. He said, and your tonsils look good. And I kind of looked at him and I kind of frowned at him and I went, what do you mean they look good? And he went, yeah, they look good. I was like, I don't have any. And I know that they can regrow and whatnot, and I do understand that, but mine have not. Where my tonsils should be is actually quite concaved, basically. I have like these dips where my tonsils should be. They dug them out well and truly, because don't forget, I hemorrhaged 2 days after I'd had my tonsils out when I was little, and I'd had to go back in and cauterize the area and everything fully. There is nothing but scar tissue and a divot where they used to be. And I was just like, I am concerned that you are a doctor and you can't tell that there are no tonsils there, like negative tonsils. But yeah, it cracks me up to this day. I'm just hoping that that doctor like maybe meant something else and misspoke. It was later on in the day and it was winter and I'm sure he'd been really busy, but yeah, it still cracks me up to this day. Bless him. Anyway, so we have a picture of the offending piece of whatever it is that was inside their mouth, and that is a coin, a 100 something. So you can see it there. Very gross, very icky looking. Looks like a little bit of beef jerky or pork crackling, I must say. I'm putting myself off pork crackling now. Don't do that. I love crackling. Oh, it's 100 yen for scale. Okay. So 100 yen for scale. So, relevant comments / theories. M. Smallicious says, I wonder if you lost a tooth way back and swallowed it and it got stuck in one of the many folds in your throat. Still weird how no one wanted to do more imaging on your throat, especially as a child. A tooth being somewhere it shouldn't should have glowed on an x-ray. Glad you finally got relief. So, OOP then says, holy crap, this might be it. It is kind of dead tooth shaped and sized. I will bring this up at my appointment. Go look at the pic I posted in another reply. Obviously, we've seen the picture. Don't want to look at it again, to be honest with you. And then M. Smallicious replies to that and says, yeah, that honestly looks like a baby tooth that has a couple decades of rot and such wrapped around it. Kids swallow their teeth all the time. You may have just been one of the very, very small percentage that had it not follow the esophagus down to the stomach. Fun little fact as well, you're learning a lot about the insides of my mouth today, apparently. I have 2 baby teeth still, and I am in my 30s, so yeah, those little buggers don't want to go anywhere. They're clinging on for dear life. And again, this is another thing that baffles me. No dentist has ever noticed until I got my newest dentist and she was like, oh, there's a because I've always been like, why are these teeth like weirdly small? Like, these 2 teeth are weirdly small. And she was like, oh, it's because they're baby teeth. And then she showed me on the x-ray and you can see they don't have an adult root. Like, they're in there still. Like, they are obviously pretty well wedged in there and don't want to come out. But yeah. She was like, yeah, they're baby teeth and they haven't come down because there's actually no adult tooth above it where it should have been to like obviously start the process of pushing it out. So they've just kind of stayed there. And if I didn't point it out to anyone, you'd never actually notice because yeah, they're smaller than my other teeth, but they're not noticeable, if that makes sense. So yeah, weird. Anyway, I'm just someone who is fascinated by weird medical. Me too. Me too. Definitely bring it up with your doctor and get it tested. So cool. I'm glad you finally have relief all these years later. Please update us and let us know what the F that is for sure. So then Costco Vodka Fancier says calcified tonsil stone? And then Crested Gecko VV says, this is what I'm thinking, that when he had the first allergic reaction, his body never got rid of it. And it was a pocket in the mucosa area of the main tonsil, etc. Ah, yeah, walled off by your body. Could be. Like, I have small tonsils, and where I get tonsil stones is actually in these little pockets that are behind the back of my tongue in my throat, not the actual tonsils. My partner has huge tonsils and regularly gets tonsil issues, etc. Versus I don't, but when I do, it's always my little tonsils. Clears up quick, but the area below takes way longer to hack up. Ew. Ew. Like weeks later, if not months. So then Flogman says, hello, I'm a dentist. Oh, goody, a dentist chiming in. This'll be interesting. That's an odd colour for a piece of bone that has come loose from a structure in the body, but thinking about your sensation of this object over the years and it kind of moving almost makes me wonder if you accidentally aspirated some object back when you were a kid, and maybe you thought it came out but it never actually did, but it was so flat that you could still breathe and it not obstruct your airway, and it was so kind of irregularly shaped that it couldn't easily just be coughed up. Did the ENT ever look down your trachea or larynx? Also, bone, when you look at it up close, typically is very porous, almost like a sponge, has a lot of holes in it. Any chance we can get a really close picture of this object? And then Zimagotchi says, I can't imagine that he would have had his own living bone in his throat, and I have to assume that that dead bone would have disintegrated by now. I bet it's plastic, part of a toy or the cap from something. I don't think plastic shows up very well on imaging either, right? No, I'd say that it is 100% possible to have a fragment of your own bone somewhere where it shouldn't be, and considering it's your own tissue, like another commenter said, your body could easily just wall it off and then it stays there. Like, it's very interesting the way tattoo ink stays in your body. Basically, those little cells in your body that are supposed to go and attack and get rid of stuff, like foreign bodies that enter, can't really get rid of it, so they just kind of wall it off instead, and that's how it stays there. Now, that's a very, like, dumb person's explanation of it, because I don't remember any of the wording for what it is. I love to watch this stuff. My brain doesn't like to keep the words, though, sometimes. But yeah, it's very interesting the way that the body deals with foreign objects. Anyway, OOP then says, strong possibility. I chewed on stuff like crazy as a kid. I'll bring this up during my appointment as well. And then Zimagotchi replies to that saying, they're going to examine it under a microscope and find 1982 Hasbro on it. Now, wouldn't that be funny? So, OOP says to that, I mean, that would be pretty epic. 100% going to reach out to Hasbro if that's the case. Hasbro has some of the most durable products a kid could want, guaranteed to last at least 35 years embedded in soft tissue or your money back. I think Hasbro would probably be panicking a little maybe, but then again, probably not, because I don't think these big corporations really care, let's be real. So we have an update, January 28th, 2026, so a very recent update. Update. Doc had to send it off for pathology to see what it was and make sure it's nothing to be worried about. They did cut into it, and you can clearly see some kind of base layer covered in 35 years of other crud. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. Checked out my throat and could see pretty clearly where it came from. Nurse and doc seemed to think it's something organic, maybe a fish bone, a scale, but laughed and did not dismiss the 1982 Hasbro idea. Should hear back on what it is in the next few days. Also, shout out to the staff at the ENT office who got a kick out of this post and the replies. I love that. And I'm so happy that they are sending it off to pathology as well, just to make sure it isn't anything untoward. It always pays to be thorough, doesn't it, really, with something like that? So, second update, February 3rd, winner winner, pathology stated it is a fragment of tooth. Thinking back, I had a lot of baby teeth pulled as a kid because they would just not fall out. Literally. I know what you mean, except I decided to keep them and they are like my little relic that comes with me everywhere. Wonder if one broke and a chunk vanished, and that's where it came from. It was too far gone to identify what tooth it might have come from. I've never had any major dental issues outside of not losing teeth like a normal kid. No cavities, no gum issues, nothing. So, down in the comments, Torrential WX says, my dad had something similar to this, called a Zanka, or Zenka. It was a flap that opened near his vocal cords and turned into a pouch, and food and things would get stuck in it. It'd cause him to experience an awful sensation where his throat would kind of tense up, like an attack. It was years ago and he had to have 2 surgeries to correct it. Jeez. I drove him to both, and after one of them, the surgeon showed me photos of the stuff that they found. Entire pills that just ended up in the pouch. They didn't dissolve or anything. Fucking crazy. So then Ken Katana says, ooh, that's a Zenka diverticulum. You have muscles in the back of your throat, but because of the way that they're arranged, there's a weak area where it's possible for an outpouching to form, causing food to get collected there, resulting in irritation. Delightful. I'm prepping for my med school exams and this helped me to revise, lol. Oh, I'm glad it helped you. It's going to help me have nightmares. And probably a lot of panic every time I'm eating something, then all of a sudden you get like that tickle in your throat now. But yeah, I'm glad that they got there in the end and they found out what their strange little throat lump was. I bet that was such a relief once it was gone. Can you imagine having 35 years of feeling like you have something stuck in your throat and then it finally is gone? And it's like, oh, I bet the relief is amazing. I bet it actually felt weird to not have the lump anymore. I bet that felt weirder than having it by that point. Okay, I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very much, and I bloody well apologise because that was kind of gross. Fascinating though, absolutely fascinating, but bodies can be a bit strange at times, can't they? Certainly anxiety inducing, I must say. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, notifications on, leave your offering of a comment to Big Al. What can you tell me today? What can you tell me today? Tell me about your pets. I would like to know about your pets. The weirder the better. And then that will be your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.